Greenville, South Carolina has seen some massive growth in a lot of different ways. One of which being that there has been a lot of big businesses that announced that they're moving or expanding in the area. Two recent huge announcements are that BMW has announced that they're going to open their electronic battery production here in Woodruff, South Carolina. Another being that Tesla will open a distribution center in Fountain Inn. Both of these are about 30 minutes outside of Greenville. Outside of just business growth, Greenville has also seen a lot of people relocate to the area from all over the country for a multitude of different reasons. Greenville's been ranked as one of the best downtowns in the entire world. We've had a lot of people announce that Greenville is one of the top retirement destinations in the Southeast and throughout the entire country recently. So Greenville is poised and is continuing to see a lot of growth. What does that mean for the real estate market? Find out in this video. Hi, I'm Evan Whaley, your favorite Greenville realtor. In this video, I want to talk about some of the leading researchers on the Greenville real estate market and what they're projecting and what they're currently seeing in the market. If you're thinking about moving to Greenville, I want you to know exactly what's happening in the trends in the market. Or if you're thinking about moving from or selling in, I want you to be up to date and know exactly what's happening here in our local market. And just one thing to remember, real estate is hyper local. So all the news that you hear sometimes may not be applicable to a certain location. So make sure that you're getting local news and local facts whenever you're trying to make decisions about a market you're buying or selling in. Let's start this off with a report that Redfin does. So Redfin looks at monthly data and they look to see exactly what's happening in that specific market. The first thing that jumps out about this Redfin report is they say it's a somewhat competitive market. They rate it as a 54 on a scale to 100. They're saying that some homes are getting multiple offers and on average a home is selling for 2% less than what it's listed for. And it's taken a little over 40 days for a home to sell. This information will be pretty reflective in all of the resources that I'll share with you. You'll notice in these reports that the information will be slightly different, but overall we'll share the same story and will be pretty similar overall. At the end of this video, I'll also share my personal opinion and what I'm seeing from working with buyers and sellers in the market every day. Let's switch over to the Realtor.com report. When we look at this report, Realtor.com says it's a balanced market. So it's not in favor of a buyer or a seller. So it is very much, the market is appreciating the way that it should, but it's not going crazy high with appreciation, and we're not seeing any kind of depreciation. One of the things that all of these reports do not take into an account is what they're looking at. They're basing all of this off of an algorithm. They're looking at how many homes are bought versus how many homes are sold. One of the things that I would say is if a seller has a really great home that's a resale property, it is selling fast. And a lot of times those are the homes that are going more into multiple offer situations. The reason being right now, almost half of the homes we have for sale are new construction. So a lot of people are gravitating towards new construction, which means that's where a lot of the inventory is as well. And it might not be as competitive, which is going to lower that average sales price. And it's going to lower a lot of the other statistics that we're looking at. But we look at the resale market, we're still significantly behind the number of resale homes that we need compared to what we've had in years in the past. One of the lines that Realtor.com has in the report here is that the average list price is up 4.4% for 2024 compared to 2023. And they're seeing that that trend is going to continue to go up. So just something to keep in mind for those that are buyers that are wondering if prices will go down. Right now, all the leading indicators and forecasters are not projecting that at all, and they actually project the market might even get hotter because as interest rates continue to go down, more and more buyers will enter the market, and we might see less inventory overall available. So if we look at Zillow's reporting, it shows that 21.5% of homes that are being listed in the Greenville market are selling above list price. Of that 60.1%, on average, what we're seeing is that homes are selling 2% below what they're listed for. So buyers do have more room to negotiate than what they've seen in years past. Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, resale homes for sellers that are in great areas, that are great properties, that are well maintained, those are the ones that are going into multiple offer situations and selling above list price as long as they have the right agent and the right marketing. So there are some great opportunities both for buyers and for sellers in this market. And it's just about how you utilize what's available and what makes the most financial sense for you and your situation. This last report that I'm looking at here is actually the market overview that's provided by our local MLS. They look at the entire upstate of all the homes that are being listed in this particular MLS. The data overall is very similar, so I won't run through a lot of those facts again. The two pieces of information that I really wanted to point out from this report that I feel like the other reports really have not pointed out is closed sales and total inventory. If we look at the inventory side, we saw that it went up 30.9% of new listings compared to 2023. So the good news for buyers right now is we are starting to see more homes come on the market. And this can't even be a good thing for sellers as well. One of the biggest complaints that I heard over the past few years from sellers is they just didn't know where they would go. They didn't know if they could get a home sale contingency accepted. They were just worried that they might not find a place that they like, the market was too competitive, etc. So it's great that there are now more options. Typically, when we start to see inventory go up, people worry about prices going down, but we're not seeing that from the average or median standpoint. We're seeing above historic appreciation rates in Greenville still to this day. The last piece of information that I wanted to cover is closed sales. Closed sales are actually up 13.3%. So even though we've got more inventory, we do have more buyers in the market than what we saw back in 2023. Now, I want to give my personal take on all this information. What I'm seeing is there are still a lot of buyers that are relocating here to the Greenville area. And I'm seeing that there's a lot of people who are making local moves. There's been a lot of sellers who have been sitting on the sidelines due to interest rates. They've got rates that are sub 3.5, and they haven't wanted to exchange that for where rates have been anywhere from like 6.5 to 7.5, almost at 8 at one point, which makes it a massive difference in affordability. So that has been something that's been a little bit of a challenge to navigate. As we've seen rates go down, we've seen that more buyers have wanted to enter the market. We've seen more sellers want to sell their home and exchange it for a property that better fits their needs. What I'm seeing and witnessing is that sellers are really deciding, hey, maybe it's time for me to cash in my equity and maybe I buy a more affordable home, or maybe I'm okay because I got a raise at work or whatever the case may be, that I could go buy a home that better suits my needs. So we're starting to see more inventory come on the market for that particular reason, and we're seeing more action, which is also leading not only to homes being listed, but also to buyers in the market as well. So I'm starting to personally see the market heat up more and more. I'm getting more calls each and every day. The last thing that I want to do here is I want to arm you with some information so that you can make a decision of where you're at. Because I just didn't want to go through a whole bunch of facts and figures and give you information and not really give you any game plan. Now, the first thing that I'll say is everyone's situation, of course, is always different. And my advice will vary based on the unique details of your specific situation. So if you ever want to hop on a phone call and talk through what's going on, I'd be happy to do that. But if we just talk in generalities here, where can a buyer and seller win in this market? Well, let's start with the sellers. Sellers who own homes that are resale properties, that are not dirt lots and are not new construction, that have some unique factors that are really well maintained, we're seeing that they're getting a premium for selling their house because there's just not a lot of competition out there for you. For somebody who doesn't want to buy a new construction home, we just simply don't have a ton of inventory. So that's just something to keep in mind as a seller. If you own one of those properties and you want to cash in, that it could be a great time for that before a lot of other sellers decide to put their home on the market. Now for a buyer, where do buyers win in this market? There's several different ways that a buyer can win in this market. New construction builders are competing with each other. They're offering some really incredible incentives, which makes the home more affordable, either by reducing the price or sometimes more importantly, if you're doing a loan, reducing that loan fairly significantly by utilizing their incentives. Other places that we're seeing wins are maybe for that home where that seller has been sitting on the market for 30 plus days. And maybe it needs a little bit of work. Maybe it needs a little bit of cosmetic updating. Those sellers now are not selling as quickly as what they have seen their neighbors sell in the past. So those sellers are getting a little more antsy. You want to make sure that you have an agent that represents you well on both sides so that you know how to navigate the market and you have proper expectations. But those sellers who are getting a little nervous about, will my house sell? What will it sell for? That could be a great opportunity for a buyer to get some closing costs paid for, which they could reduce their interest rate, or they could really get a price break on the house. They can maybe get it below market value. So there's a lot of wins that you can find in that particular segment of the market as well. So as I mentioned, there's a lot of different ways that no matter the situation, that someone can find a way to win in this market. It's just about having the right strategy and tactics to ensure that you find the right home at the right price that fits your needs. I hope this video was helpful for you. I'm curious, what do you think is going to happen in the Greenville real estate market? Do you feel like buyer demand is going to go up, or is it going to go down over the coming months? I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment down below.